official home for Beaver sports. On the campus of Bemidji State University, this is The Huddle with Zach Lunt and Dan Amundsen. The Huddle starts now.
Welcome to The Huddle. I'm your host, Zachary Lunt, and my co-host over here is Dan Amundsen.
How's it going?
So Dan, we're going to start off hot with the men's basketball team. BSU got their victory win, an OT 96-95 against Crookston. What's your thoughts on that game?
Well, they continue to score a ton of points, and Crookston's a decent team. They went into overtime with them and were able to hold them off. I know Crookston shot a buzzer beater at the end. It was kind of a cool shot, but of course didn't matter. They were down by 4, and so it cut it to 1. So really wasn't a one-point game. A little further away than it looks on paper, but they continue to score a ton of points, which is awesome to see. Yeah,
for sure. And their next upcoming game, they are going to be playing against Northern State, and they are 6-3. What is your thoughts on this next upcoming game? Do you think they're going to be over or under 80 points?
They've been scoring over 70 points, I think, every game, if not maybe one they haven't. So I'm got to say they'd at least score 70. 80, it'll be tough, I think, especially Northern State's a good team, so you might see the defense tighten up a little bit. But we'll see. I don't know. I know BSU's defense hasn't been great. That's one thing I really want them to improve on, because defense wins championships. You can score as many points, but if the other team scores more, you're still going to lose. So tighten up on D there. For
sure, and especially with rebounding. They've been struggling with that. They would let Crookston shoot the ball up for like threes, and then they would get the ball right back for a second chance opportunities. So, I mean, that's a killer for, especially for the defense, and then also getting the opposite side to get scoring side.
Absolutely.
So could second chance scoring hurt BSU?
Oh, for sure. You really want to look, if you want to have the other team shoot, I guess, a maximum of 1 time per possession. You don't want to let them get a second shot at that, because now they're chewing up more clock. Then you're getting more shots at scoring. You want to get that ball, get back down the court, and then settle down and chew up some clock and put 2 points up on the board. But if you're not getting those rebounds, you got to be boxing out. Rebounding is one of the most important aspects of the game. It leads to scoring. It leads to wins. If you're not rebounding, you're not going to win.
Yeah, and especially against the Northern State, that's actually played against some ranked teams and lost the number 5 by a point, and then won against the ranked 13th. So that also shows that they can compete with some really high teams here.
For sure.
So now, if Bemidji beats Northern State, what's your thoughts on that? If they were to win, is that a big thing, or is that like, it's not a big deal if they win or not?
I think it's going to be their biggest test they've had all year so far. Now, granted, we're early in the year, but it's their biggest test. They come out with a win, they're going to be coming out feeling pretty good, and that momentum's going to keep them rolling on down and down on the year. And I'm going to feel pretty good about it too, thinking, hey, we've got a team that can compete with some pretty decent teams. So I think this is a big test. I'm going to feel pretty good if they win.
Yeah. And then the next game that they have is on Saturday against Moorhead. Thoughts on that? Is that really a big game, or is it pretty much like a toss and win?
Yeah, no game's a toss and win, of course, but it's not. If you're going to say a game of the week, it's going to be that Northern State one. Moorhead doesn't excite me a whole lot, but who knows? Basketball's basketball, and teams can come out hot one day and not the other. So you always got to go out and play the game. There's a reason they play the game.
For sure. Now let's transition into women's basketball. So they just lost to Crookston, 70-61. What's your thoughts on that game?
Yeah, it's kind of a bummer. And you look, they got outscored in the fourth quarter, like 21-7 or something like that. So they kind of fell apart. But the other number to look at was the turnovers. Turnovers, I think they had 19 or 18, and that really, really killed them. Turnovers are always going to kill you. So that's a big red flag for me. You simply can't turn over the ball. It's going to lead to bad things. So that's a big red flag, especially this early in the year. They got to make sure they don't continue a trend and make this a habit. Yeah,
for sure. And they have their upcoming game against Northern State, just like the men's are, and also Moorhead. So Friday, Northern State. Saturday is Moorhead. So for this upcoming game against Northern State especially, do you think they'll have over or under 18 turnovers?
I've got to go with the under. I think I'm going to hope and pray that this was a one-time thing, but you never know. It could be a habit they have, but I'm sure they worked on it in practice. I know they've been hammering drills down, so I got to go with the under on that one. It's just I hope that they don't do this a second time.
Yeah, and especially like 18 turnovers is a lot in a game, and I'm hoping, like you were saying, it's a hiccup. And if that did happen, like this last game, I'm hoping the coach really drills them in about
absolutely.
having these turnovers. So, do you think BSU will win both games this weekend against Northern State and Moorhead, or is it going to be a toss-up?
I'd say it's more of a toss-up. I'd go with a split, probably win one, lose one. But who knows? I haven't been thoroughly impressed by our women's team so far this year, but maybe this will be a weekend they can turn it around and change my mind.
Yeah. Well, hopefully we have a BSU win, especially with both hockey and basketball. So that'd be nice to have some wins over this weekend, maybe a whole all Beaver wins. Let's transition into hockey here. So we have women's hockey. They're 4-12-1 now. They win the series against St. Cloud. They swept both. They won Friday night, 3-0. Saturday night, they won 2-0. What's your thoughts on the wins this weekend?
Well, that's a big 2 wins in my opinion. St. Cloud, again, not the greatest team, but I think we talked about it last week, put some distance between that last place spot. You never want to be that team in the last place spot in the standings. So put some distance in between us and St. Cloud, which is always good. And hopefully, I was thinking this with the Ohio State wins, that maybe, once you get that first one, they start rolling, which didn't really happen. But again, another 2 wins. I think this might be a turning point. We're getting to that halfway point in the season. They might be hitting their stride, just needed a couple wins to push them in the right direction. So we might see more W's start falling.
Yeah, and especially like what we were just saying there, the next kind of question would have been, do you think BSU is going to get on track here after these 2 wins against obviously a team that's obviously not as good as them, maybe?
Yeah.
Is this going to put them back on track and maybe get some more wins, or what do you think?
Well, I think it sure is going to put them in the right direction. Now, granted, I don't see us making a huge leap and all of a sudden this miraculous comeback in the second half of the season and winning the conference or whatever. But I think it'll put us, at a few more wins. I don't think it's going to be a completely crap season. I think we might end up in the middle of the pack or probably towards the bottom half of that pack, but I don't see us sitting in the doghouse in the last spot.
Yeah, for sure. So upcoming game is against Mercyhurst. They play Friday and Saturday. What's your thoughts on this game for the women's hockey team?
Yeah, Mercyhurst, they're a decent team, 7-6-1. So not the greatest, not the worst, but again, it's going to be a test to see, hey, we just went out and won these 2 games. We beat Ohio State a couple of weeks back. Can we come out and beat a decent team? And if they can, that's what I'd like to see, of course. And I think then they're really going to start getting rolling in the right direction. If they can't, and they play poorly again, then it might just be, we played a bad team last weekend. We pulled 2 wins out of it. Lucky us. And it's back to woe was us. We're losing all of our games again. So definitely a big test again. I can see him winning at least one of these games. I think this momentum finally is going to push him in the right direction.
Yeah, and what's your thoughts, actually, let's backtrack here on the St. Cloud game, winning Mac getting a hat trick on Friday night.
Yeah, that's spectacular. You always like hat tricks. It's a fun milestone in hockey games and always fun for the fans to get to throw their hats on the ice if they so do choose. Yeah, and that's what you want to see. You want to see your star players take over and kind of get on my back. I'm going to take us to victory, and that's what you need from your star players.
For sure. So for women's hockey here, do you think for over or under, do you think they'll win over or under 8 wins here?
Yeah, I'm going to take.
Season, I should say.
Yeah, I'm going to take. I got to hammer the over. In the words of Pat McAfee, hammer the over. I think 8 wins. They've got 4 now. They've got plenty of season left. I think they're going to get there.
All right. So now let's go on to men's. Men are 6-6-2. BSU lost their whole series. Lost the whole series. What's your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I'm bummed out because I really thought this weekend they were at home. I thought this was going to be a great chance for them. No, they were on the road.
They're on the road. Yeah.
I thought this was going to be a great chance for them to pull within 2 points of that first place spot in the conference, the WCHA, and possibly a chance to get ranked if they win both those games. Michigan Tech was a good team, and now they've pulled into the rankings a little bit, and BSU's kind of fallen out of the receiving votes category. So it's disappointing there. I would have liked to have seen that. It would have been really, really fun to get back up into that second place spot and really have a shot to put some distance in that first place spot. Yeah,
for sure. And just for everybody to know, Friday, BSU lost an OT 4-3. And then on Saturday, we lost 7-2 to Michigan Tech. What do you think happened on Saturday? From Friday to Saturday, just like we were saying, it was 3-4 and they went OT, and now it was 7-2 the next night. What happened there? Is it just mental? They just lost it as a goalie, a lot of 4 goals. That's a lot of goals, a lot of before the third period.
Yeah, they've been running this tandem goalie deal, so Friday you're playing one and Saturday going with the other. Driscoll got the start on Saturday, and every goalie has it. It's just not their night. Basically everyone in sports has it. Pitchers have it, hitters have it, forwards have it, defensemen have it. And this time, when you're a goalie and when you don't have it, it shows on the score sheet. So it just wasn't his night, and it was kind of one of those nights where nobody really had it. Michigan Tech came out and scored 4 on Driscoll real quick, and then they put Johnson back in, and he let up 3 more. So, you could sure blame the goaltenders, but at the same time, they let up 7 goals between 2 goalies. So Michigan Tech brought their A game. Bemidji just didn't, and whatever it was, lack of sleep. They might have been mentally frustrated after that overtime loss, and just it carried over into Saturday, which you can't let that happen. You got to have that mental block, and maybe they just didn't, and it led to a pretty ugly game on Saturday.
Yeah, for sure. So now they have an upcoming game against Alabama Huntsville, and they are 1-13. Thoughts on the game? Is it kind of just, they're just going to walk in, win the game, or is it there possibly competition?
Well, I haven't seen much of them when they've played the Beavers in the past, but what I've heard is that they always bring their A game against Bemidji. So you're coming up to Sanford Center. It's going to be cold here. Maybe they're playing indoors, of course, but all of a sudden they're not going to like coming up to Bemidji. They're going to have a little chip on their shoulder. It's cold. They want to get back into that arena and put some wins on the score sheet. But at the same time, they're just not a really good hockey team. I'm predicting a sweep for this weekend.
Yeah, for sure. And they've also been considered as like a rival for BSU for a long time. Mm-hmm. So that could just be another thing. So will BSU be ranked over or under 15?
Yeah, at this point, if we would have pulled 2 wins out, I would have said you'd have a shot at the under, but now I got to take the over on that one. Honestly, I'd be surprised if we got ranked at this point in the year. If we win 2 games against Alabama, it's really not going to do much for us. They're just not a good enough team for anyone to say, oh, look at these guys. They just swept a crappy team. Oh, let's put them in the rankings. It just doesn't work like that. So it's going to take a lot more if they want to climb into that top 20 in the nation. It'll be tough. It's possible. But I just don't see it happening, and especially getting below 15. I don't see it.
Yeah, for sure. Well, that's all we have for today. We'll see you guys next week.